You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
Welcome to Liberty Explained. We are your guide to libertarianism. Your hosts are Chris Spangle, Julia Geyer, and Levy Rainey. We're going to break down a complicated movement and an ideology, helping you understand what libertarianism is all about, and who's who, what's what, what's going on, what's wrong with the Libertarian Party, all that good stuff. And we're going to solicit your questions, so send in your questions to ask@wearelibertarians.com. And we'll answer your questions, your friends' questions, whatever. This podcast is produced by the We Are Libertarians Network. My name is Chris Spangle. I am the host of We Are Libertarians and Liberty Explained. And my co-hosts for this episode are Julia Geyer and Levy Rainey. Julia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. And Levy, hello.
Hi, I'm still hungry in case you're wondering.
We record these all like in a row, so we're on a Zoom call basically for 3 hours, and nuttiness takes place in between the breaks. And I should really like cut that up, Julia, as like little best of clips for our Instagram.
I know, we should. People love those things.
I know. Levy's quite the character.
I know, Levy's so funny.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about why can't Libertarian Party presidential candidates get into the presidential debates? You're going to be blown away by this. The answer is corruption, collusion, a bamboozling by the two parties.
What?
So, yes, Levy, when it comes to the national presidential debates, if you were to take a guess, like who puts on the presidential debates, if you know, pretend you don't know, who would you guess put on the presidential debates when you were a kid?
Who like host them?
Yeah,
who
like
broadcast them?
you just tune in and you're like, oh, okay, the debate's on. Who organized this?
I've never thought. I'm gonna say like a big advertising company like Colgate.
Right. Or Julia, what did you think?
Honestly, when I was young, I never thought about it. I thought it was just like hosted on a channel.
Right.
You know, it didn't occur to me that it was anything other than like every other show. There's a production company, but I didn't think it was how it is.
What it is. And I always thought it was media outlets, right? Like the journalists, CNN puts it on, and so Wolf Blitzer's up there. In reality, the Committee on Presidential Debates is a quote-unquote nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. And they are basically an organization formed by the Republicans and the Democrats. They have Republican and Democratic commissioners. The head of the executive director is a longtime political. I think she worked for the Republican Party. The board members are all Republicans and Democrats. And the two parties actually put together the commission that makes up the debate. So, Julia, why don't you tell us, like, when did this actually take place?
Well, this was in direct response to the 1980 presidential election, where third parties took over 8% of the vote, and it backfired in 1992 when Ross Perot took almost 20% of the popular vote as an independent.
Yeah, and so in that race, Jimmy Carter was president, Ronald Reagan was challenging him, and there was a third-party candidate, I believe his name was Jack Anderson, and he was starting to move in on the poll numbers of Jimmy Carter. And so Jimmy Carter said, I'm not going to share debate stage with the third-party candidate and Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan just said, fine, and had the debate with the third-party candidate. And then after that, they just said, we can't have this. And so then I believe the actual commission was formed in 1988, eventually, after there was another, it was 1987, excuse me, when it was formed, because there was another third-party insurgency in 84. But then in Ross Perot's run in 92, the Committee on Presidential Debates had to have him in there. And then they instituted a rule that said 15% of the polls, or else you can't be a part of the debates. Third-party candidates to this day. And here's the surprise part. The 5 polling firms that they base that off of, none of them include the presidential candidates in their polling for the Libertarian Party or Green Party. So the two parties colluded in 1988 to form this commission. Then in 1992, when somebody actually broke through and got on, they fixed that the next year, and then they exclude them. But isn't this the definition of shady politics, Levy?
Okay, so how is there ever going to be a third party debating with them? Like, where's the hope in this? This is terrible.
That's the idea. So,
I mean,
where do they get their money? Well, there are 6 secretive donors that nobody knows the donors of. Anheuser-Busch has donated some. PepsiCo has donated in the past. Nobody knows who actually funds these debates, but they maintain a government tax-exempt status, and they do none of the required work for a nonprofit necessary to retain that title. And actually, when Jill Stein attended, they detained a major party candidate for 8 hours after she attempted to access the debate stage. And they tried to kick Ralph Nader out when he ran as a third-party candidate just to show up to try and get some of the press. And they do everything they can, not even to allow the third-party candidates to attend the debate.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
So messed up.
Yeah. So We Are Libertarians, the flagship show, we actually just did an episode on this where we go even deeper into some of this stuff.
Really good.
Thank you very much.
That was a really good episode.
I did not listen because I'm a fake fan.
That's okay. So, Julia, what are some, Levy's expressing exasperation, what are some ways that we can fight this?
I think the best thing to do is challenge the sponsors, as 3 major corporate interests ended their sponsorship in 2012 after public pressure due to non-inclusionary tactics preventing third-party voices from participating. And in 2020, the corporate sponsors include Anheuser-Busch, AARP, the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, the Culver Fund, the National Governors Association, and Philips. So I feel like this falls into the line of vote with your wallet. All these companies that are sponsoring this really corrupt debate commission, just stop giving them your money. That's the best thing you can do, I think.
Yeah, and Gary Johnson, Libertarian Party candidates have tried to sue their way in, and they were told that they're a nonpartisan organization, and he just didn't meet the requirements. But now the debate commission, in response to President Donald Trump withdrawing from the debate, he cut, for those of you listening far in the future, President Donald Trump, he was president. If you're listening to this in a future century or on another planet, we'll explain how that happened on some other show. But he caught COVID, and nobody wanted to be in a room with him. And he said, and they said, all right, we'll do the debate, but it has to be virtual. We'll do it over Zoom. And he said, I'm not coming. And so then Joe Biden said, well, then I'm not coming either if he's not going to follow the rules. And then he said, wait a minute, I want to do it. And then the Commission on Presidential Debate said, we're not going to do it if you're not going to follow the rules because you didn't 2 weeks ago. And so now all these MAGA Republicans are screaming. Republicans are screaming for the eradication of this institution, and they're nonpartisan. And Bob Dole, the former presidential candidate and senator, is tweeting out that he knows all the Republican commissioners on the debate, and it's not truly bipartisan because all of them are opposing Trump, and it's not fair. And the moderator is tweeting out, pro-Biden things. And you know what? There's some things about Donald Trump that he really knows how to destroy an institution. And so maybe we may get lucky, and the Committee on Presidential Debates will be destroyed as an institution, and it will return to the stewardship of the League of Women Voters, who did an excellent job with it. And so that is what libertarians would like to see happen. And, you know, this is the same with ballot access laws and basically and drawing maps and gerrymandering. Republicans and Democrats shouldn't be allowed. Pepsi and Coke should not be allowed to write the rules for all colas. Poor RC Cola needs a chance too. Let Faygo in there, you know, and we let Republicans and Democrats write up all these rules, and it's wrong.
It's really wrong. And I think that, like, when you say we let them do this, like, so many people don't know about this.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know the depth of it until I listened to that podcast that you guys just put out on We Are Libertarians. And I was like, oh my God. And I think that I posted it on my Instagram, and I got a lot of people responding, being like shocked and upset about it. And I think if more people, obviously, doesn't that go to say with almost everything that's going on these days, but if more people knew the ins and outs of how wrong it is, you know, I think
they'll take action. They'll start boycotting, and they'll start demanding something different. Bad press can destroy this thing. And so please, we'll put the show notes for that other episode in there, and you can listen and go even more in depth. But spread the word. That's the most powerful thing that you could do, is you have a publishing tool in social media to tell your friends, and then they'll go, this is all corrupt as hell anyways. We want something different. So,
yeah.
All right.
So share it.
Well, thank you very much for watching and listening to Liberty Explained. If you're not following the Instagram, you can watch it on YouTube, watch it on Facebook, watch it on Instagram, listen on podcasts. We're everywhere. So please spread the word with this stuff. Levy, Julia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And listener, thank you so much as well, and we will see you soon in the future.